Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you tonight. We finally saw Daniel Bryan being added to the Royal Rumble. He was able to defeat Kane on SmackDown. Let me know, was it a little bit weird? This is the second week the SmackDown's been on Thursdays. Were you able to remember everything that went down? I honestly can tell you that I forgot that NXT was on last night. So, last night they made the big push to make sure everybody was going around and remembering what days shows were on. This week came up and I got a little bit mixed up and jumbled. I haven't been able to watch NXT yet. But Daniel Bryan being added into the Royal Rumble is a big deal. I know that a lot of people out there are really hoping for Daniel Bryan to win his first Royal Rumble. I know that he did main event last year's WrestleMania. He was sort of the weird adaptation to the rule, being added because of the yes, yes, yes factor. And a lot of people think that he's just going to be handed his spot back, even though he wasn't able to wrestle in between May and now January. It's been a long hiatus for Daniel Bryan where we had ups and we had downs, basically, thinking that, Bryan was never going to wrestle again for a little part of that. It just seemed like, is it really worth him to, put everything on the line and come back to wrestle for just a short little bit? Daniel Bryan has been through a lot in his career. I know that a lot of people, sort of put Daniel Bryan in the youth movement because of the fact that, John Cena's been around forever, and a lot of people want something different than John Cena and Randy Orton. But to me, honestly, even though Bryan just came onto the scene in 2010. He just had his first sort of main event year. I don't think Bryan's going to be, around forever. That's, why, in the background we're rooting for the Shield guys. We're rooting for Ambrose. We're rooting for Roman Reigns. Maybe not a lot of people rooting for Roman Reigns right now. It seems that he's actually, getting his chance to move up the ladder. And people are trying to shove him back down, but people are actually, cheering for Rollins, cheering for Bray Wyatt. It's a lot like, when we were watching wrestling back in 2002, and all of those guys were coming up with Randy Orton and John Cena. I think Batista was in there, Brock Lesnar. It was a really, really fun time with a whole bunch of new names, mixing in with the old names, and, everybody was fighting. Along the line, a lot of guys' names pop up that we think are going to be big stars. They fall off, and they end up wrestling some other way. But I think right now with the Performance Center, the WWE is pushing into the right direction to get there. Now, honestly, in my opinion, I think a lot of people have Daniel Bryan winning the deal. After watching Monday Night Raw, I really think that it's an easy pick to see that Roman Reigns is winning the Royal Rumble. Him coming out there and saving Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels is just something that you don't do unless you have major plans for this guy. And I think that, especially with everything that was said during that segment involving him, it's easy to point to the fact that Roman Reigns is going to be the winner. Now, is Daniel Bryan going to be buried if Daniel Bryan doesn't win the Royal Rumble? I don't think so. I think that he's definitely going to be a big part of WrestleMania. You can't, main event WrestleMania, have two of the best WWE matches of the year on the same card, and a year later just be sort of thrown into the scrap pile. I definitely don't want to see him wrestling against Corporate Kane at WrestleMania, but WWE has a way of figuring things out, putting matches out there that they know are going to be good. I know that we've seen Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan, and that was the rumored match for last year. These guys seem to be the long-standing rivals at WrestleMania. Of course, the WrestleMania 27 match was scrapped. They wrestled for a minute before it became the pre-show battle royal, where I will honestly admit that I think I was a little bit confused. I didn't know that the Great Khali had won the United States Championship or not. I knew that there was a United States Championship match going on before they said that it was a 30-man battle royal because of all the lumberjacks getting involved. Then of course WrestleMania 28, we saw Sheamus beat Daniel Bryan in a matter of seconds. Last year was supposed to be, he said it was supposed to be the 4th or 5th match on the card. They were just going to have a match. We didn't get to see that at all because Daniel Bryan and the Yes Movement pushed them all the way into, wrestling Triple H in the opening match of the night, and then, closing it out, beating Batista and Daniel Bryan. Might as well throw in that he beat Triple H as well. No, it's hard for me. I mean, everybody tries to think of who the final four guys are going to be. I honestly think it's going to be Roman Reigns. I think it's going to be Big Show. I think it's going to be Corporate Kane. But I can't put Bryan in there. I don't know who's going to eliminate Daniel Bryan, because whoever does is going to have a huge amount of heat on them. I definitely think it could be a member of the Authority. It could be Stephanie McMahon herself running down there and eliminating Bryan. I know that a lot of their angle is being built up around each other. I know that you can't really include Brie anymore. Stephanie already wrestled Brie. Brie's a heel. We know that Brie and Daniel are together. I don't know how they're ever going to explain how they're still together and how they have such different opinions about what is going on. Maybe we just won't see them interact on the show anymore. It's one of the problems that I have with the WWE universe and the Total Divas universe, about them sort of uniting. It doesn't really make sense at all. It's just the whole time period is all messed up. Total Divas is 4 months behind what's happening on Raw and SmackDown, but yet they're still trying to match it up to where the past matters with the future, and it's a big ball of mess. I love watching Raw. I love watching Total Divas, but as a wrestling fan, Total Divas makes my head explode when I'm trying to put the timeline together about everything that's going down. But I really just see like a member of J&J Security, not being a member of the Rumble, but being sort of like a Kai or like a Mean Street Posse, just running down and hitting the ring, taking care of business. Like I said, I don't want to see Daniel Bryan wrestle Corporate Kane at WrestleMania. I don't think you can do Triple H versus Daniel Bryan for a second time. It looks like Triple H is going to be wrestling Sting at this point, even though it could be Seth Rollins versus Sting at this point. Sting has had an influence in Seth Rollins being pinned not once but twice. He could just get messed up. I was going to call them the Brothers of Destruction. I know that they were a tag team for a while, but I don't think they had a name. We could just see Daniel Bryan be eliminated by Kane and Big Show. Roman Reigns could bump him out. I know that a lot of people are looking for him to have some sort of a heel turn. The last few years, we've seen like a match basically break out at the Royal Rumble. We saw, Ryback versus John Cena. We saw, Sheamus versus Jericho. Batista versus Roman Reigns last year. So, I mean, like, you get down to the final four, and then you end up having, like, a 5-minute match. I think that started with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels a few years ago, and both guys were really fighting to win that Rumble. To show that they could main event. That's when they started, basically having another match. How those guys can be in the Rumble for so long and then to get, all fired up and not gassed out, I've got no clue. But I just don't see Bryan doing it. And that might not be the best thing, for business. But I think that WWE can put it together to where, Daniel Bryan's going to be in a good match at WrestleMania. They know that, people want to chant yes. They want to buy foam fingers. They want to buy T-shirts. They all want to, paint their face to have a beard like Daniel Bryan. I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens. What do you guys think's going to happen? I just don't see him winning. My heart wants him to win. Believe me that. But I just don't think he's going to.